Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
It's a COVID surge that is even confusing some of the smartest health experts in the country. Why are states with restrictions like Michigan seeing such an increase in cases? We hear from the experts. But we begin with Storm Tracker 4 as storms are moving into our area this noon, bringing with them a slight chance for severe weather. And we want to get out to meteorologist Brandon Rue right off the top here to get an update on the timing and the potential for any serious weather later.
Some welcome April showers always, but there's a section of our viewing area that could be in for some of the stronger storms or cells. About a quarter to a third of our viewing area. It's mainly south zone and west zone. Jackson to Ann Arbor down into Lenawee and Monroe counties as well. Under a marginal risk for severe weather. That's the weakest risk on a scale of 1 to 5. It's a 1. Doesn't mean we won't see our share of small handful of stronger storm cells. Right now, we have temps, beautiful. Low and mid 70s for most. A little cooler in Monroe at 63. Why? Well, winds out of the southeast blowing off of Lake Erie, just slightly cooler. Temps get to about 77 degrees this afternoon, and after 4 p.m., eyes to the skies. Again, not everybody is going to see nasty storms, but some gushing downpours and lightning after 3 or 4 p.m. You can kind of see some of the activity getting going now 2 hours south, but a lot of the lighter rain showing there in Lenawee, Monroe counties, not officially hitting the ground. And our Storm Tracker 4 with lightning, not showing anything real problematic, but some of that heavier stuff down in central Ohio and Indiana, that's what we're watching for. So on the model here, 4 o'clock, some of the heavier showers and storms. And so, Rhonda, not only the small threat for severe weather, but what looks like a slippery, sloppy, dangerous commute with some heavy rain.
Brandon, thank you. We do want to get to our breaking news. You just heard from President Joe Biden addressing 6 executive actions to combat what he calls a gun violence epidemic in our country. Among the orders, direct the Justice Department to restrict homemade weapons known as ghost guns. Also restrict stabilizing braces that turn pistols into rifles, and resume gun tracking that stopped more than 20 years ago. Also draft state reg flag laws that allows relatives and police to ask a judge to keep weapons from people in crisis, in domestic violence situations, or suicide prevention. This all coming after mass shootings in Colorado and Georgia.
Gun violence in this country is an epidemic. Let me say it again. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic, and it's an international embarrassment.
The House passed a background check bill last month, but gun control measures face slim prospects in the Senate. Republicans remain nearly unified against the proposals. Now to the coronavirus headlines, as the CDC urges states like us here in Michigan to impose new restrictions to try and stop this current virus surge we're under. Michigan leads the nation in cases right now. New case rates every day, higher than any other state, with 63 of the state's 83 counties seeing double-digit increases in positivity rates in the past week. Yesterday, we saw more than 8,000 new cases across the state. We're expecting another update on where we stand with new cases this afternoon from the past 24 hours. Now, when it comes to the economy, it appears businesses are still cutting jobs. The number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits increased last week to 744,000. But positive news on the vaccine front. The CDC says that nearly 25% of adults in the United States are now fully vaccinated. That includes Michigan. A panel of infectious disease experts from Michigan Medicine and the University of Michigan are weighing in on the COVID-19 vaccines. They say that vaccination is key to stopping the recent surge in cases and deaths.
Our best way to prevent deaths is to prevent illness. And that's what we have to do collectively. It's got to be an all hands on deck trying to do this in the best way we know how. And for those who are convinced that the vaccine is working and is safe, as I think we all believe, to try to convince their friends, their neighbors, that we need to pursue the vaccine option as vaccine becomes more available.
What's happening in Michigan is baffling some of our nation's smartest health experts. States with stricter rules are seeing surges in cases, while many that rush to reopen and abandon mask mandates are now looking at sizable drops in numbers. Sam Brock is looking into this COVID confusion.
Call it a COVID conundrum. In states with the strictest measures in the country, like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and much of New England, cases are on the rise. While in the South, states like Arkansas and Texas that have reopened businesses and ripped away mask mandates are seeing their numbers drop.
I'm announcing today that the statewide mask mandate will be lifted.
People and businesses don't need the state telling them how to operate.
So what might explain the apparent contradiction? One theory, differences in testing rates. Alabama has experienced one of the biggest dips in reported infections, more than 50% in 2 weeks. But it's also dead last in the U.S. for COVID testing, only 56 tests per 100,000 people. That's a fraction of what you'll find in places like Vermont, Massachusetts, and New York, where numbers are surging.
How much does lack of adequate testing have to do with the numbers that we're seeing right now?
When you don't test, you're blind. And when you're not testing, you have a false sense of what the real problem is in your community.
Another theory, COVID fatigue. In Michigan, where people are just coming out of lockdown for the first time in months, cases are up more than 100% as demographics shift.
What's different in this wave is these are younger individuals between the ages of 30 and 60, the vast majority of which are not currently vaccinated.
Texas, on the other hand, began reopening its doors months ago and just jammed 40,000 people into the Rangers ballpark, many without masks.
A lot of individuals in the southern part of the U.S., and especially here in Texas, have already been exposed to the coronavirus. So many individuals already have coronavirus antibodies.
That leads us to the risky behavior we've seen in places like Miami Beach, Florida, where numbers have only increased slightly. And theory number 3, that young people are acting as carriers. As doctors say, they're returning to other states, taking the virus with them.
Those are the least likely to show up for testing. And when those younger individuals infect older individuals or more vulnerable individuals, that takes time.
Bottom line, health experts say the falling figures in the South might be giving a false sense of security.
Do medical experts worry is emboldening those leaders who said this is a good idea to loosen restrictions?
We worry about if there's a perfect storm brewing. If we remember, this virus always takes 10 to 14 to 21 days to develop. We might just be seeing the early effects of that right now.
That was Sam Brock reporting. Variants are also playing a significant role. Here in Michigan, there is a high prevalence of that UK variant, but there are outliers like in Florida. They have the most variant strains by far, and the numbers are not exploding. We do have some sad news this noon. A beloved local chef has passed away. Matt Prentice ran some of the most well-known restaurants in Metro Detroit over the years, including Coach Insignia over at the Rinsen. He most recently opened Three Cats restaurant in Clawson. Prentice passed away after a brief illness, but he did not die of COVID or have COVID. He was just 62 years old, and our thoughts go out to his colleagues and family. A woman was killed in a crash that launched a car into the air on the lodge last night. Police say that the driver was speeding, lost control, hit the embankment wall on the lodge ramp to westbound I-94. The car launched into the air and then landed on top of another car. The passenger in the speeding car was killed. The driver got out and ran, but was later taken to the hospital. No one else was hurt in that crash. An 89-year-old man was taken to the hospital in an overnight fire on Detroit's east side. That fire breaking out at the home on Bradford near 7 Mile and Hoover at around 4 o'clock this morning. The 89-year-old had to be pulled from the home and suffered smoke inhalation. He's expected to be okay, and 2 others in the home got out okay as well. But sadly, a dog died in the fire. The cause is still under investigation. A new focus on day 9 of the trial for Derek Chauvin. What medical experts are revealing about how George Floyd died and what else we can expect from the courtroom this afternoon. We'll take you to Minneapolis. But first, a former NFL player is accused of going on a shooting spree overnight, killing 5 people and then himself. The new details next.